Is that too loud?
Right. No.
Some people it can be kind of loud.
It's because they're weak ears.
Well, or you do music. I listen to heavy metal.
I would say metal, and I listen to all my music way too loud.
So I think our ears are just like, our hearing has gone down a little bit.
Slick.
You know?
Daniel hates it so much. He's like, oh, this is always so loud. I can hear you coming home. I'm like, and I don't know any other way of living unless my music is like really loud.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
As well, it's like, I'll have my metal music on and Lydia will be like, that's so loud. You know, like in the car. And I'm like, babe, if it's not loud, it's not metal.
Right. I'm like, I can barely hear this if it's like under a 10. So
yeah. There's only one volume for metal, honey, and that is up. Okay?
Yeah.
I can't, there's no slow listening metal. What kind of shit is that?
You miss like half the song.
Yeah. You can't even piece it together.
Yeah, it's like, you hear like drums softly in the background. Like, right.
It's like, what? What's going on?
Right.
This could be brought to you by Ghost.
It should be brought to you by Ghost.
Welch's grape.
We're going to figure that one out.
I drink this one. I drink one or two of these a day.
Oh my
this
gosh.
flavor.
Oh, I just grape flavor anything I'm not a fan of.
It's that good. It's so good.
I like grapes. I just don't like grape flavoring.
See, I'm not like one to go get grapes.
Why though? They're so good.
Like I love pineapple. That's my favorite.
Fair.
I could eat like a whole pineapple.
Fair.
That's
good
just
for you
nice
too.
and sweet. Yeah.
For your nasal system.
Is it?
Yeah, like a lot of singers do. One of my favorite singers, he like mid stage has like a pineapple juice and just like drinks it because it clears your mucus pathways.
Man, maybe I need to do more pineapple because I get congested a lot.
Mm.
You ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit Podcast. What we do on this podcast is bringing guests from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life to share their story, their journey, and everything that led them to where they're at today. We're here to make an impact, and that is what we do. So if that is for you, like, subscribe, all those wonderful things. And if that is not for you, I don't know what your problem is, but you need to jump on board today. Okay? Thank you. But without further ado, God, I messed that all up. I would love to introduce our guest today, Mr. Josh Randle.
And from the musician, no less, you messed it up. That's funny. That's why
I screwed up because I've never done a drum roll.
See,
I don't think I've never done
probably add one in post. Like,
I had a drummer on and we did a drum roll.
Oh, okay.
But that was he kind of started that.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh shit. Okay. But yeah, I usually just like clap and cheer.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I felt the drum roll. I understood. I was here.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, dude, it's good to have you, man.
Yeah,
it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, we talked about this, like I said, a lot.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of conversations about this.
Exactly. So
this is happening.
It's good. I'm glad we can make it happen. For those, obviously, y'all don't know Josh, but Josh is a client of mine. He's made strides, made a huge difference. We're just keeping a nice steady track of things. Fits his lifestyle and just dialing in over time and making you healthier and better. And you're crushing it, dude. Definitely getting stronger too. So it's really cool to see that. And I will say, like, you put in work, man. You pay attention and you bust your ass when you're in here, and I love to see it. So I appreciate that.
I try because I'm not just like getting up every morning to like half-ass it. Because a part of doing it is like convincing myself that you don't have to just waste money, time, energy, like your time, my time, like Daniel's time. Because like I think about working out is not just a solo thing. Like when you're dating someone, married, it's like you have to think about your partner. If you have kids or a dog, like my dog is traumatized every time I leave the house in the morning. He's like, he's leaving again, but why? So I have to take that in consideration. Like, all right, everybody's time is now involved in me in this 1 hour, including my job, who I don't know if they know I'm like at the gym at 9 in the morning every morning or not, but hey, that's on them.
I mean, they can't be mad at it.
No, like funny, whenever I say I was like at the gym, they're like, oh, great, cool. Like they're all super happy. And like, cause most of them are either on their way to the gym, coming from it. Like it's pretty cool.
It's good to prioritize it, man. You've been consistent as hell. I love it. So you always show up, you always get after it. And I'm proud of you, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
It's been a journey for sure.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
And of course, I want to get into your journey.
Yeah.
Real quick, tell everybody just what it is that you do, like in your day to day. And your band and stuff, and then we'll shift to the next thing.
Awesome. So I am by profession a webinar coordinator. So anything communications, but I do webinars and events for a tech media company. It's pretty fun. So basically anything in your phone, laptop, all that stuff, data storage, ransomware, we help you out with that. I just make sure everybody's there for the webinars.
Yeah.
But like I listened to a little bit of it, but I'm like not well versed in it to like tell you about ransomware. I mean, no, I take that back. I actually am. I learned a lot about ransomware and the different types, but I'm not gonna go on that tangent right now. I am the lead singer of a band. We actually won Murfreesboro Battle of the Bands this year, 2024. So shout out to us. Woo!
Yeah.
Band name A Conundrum, ACONUNDRUM. We are currently working on new music. Thanks to the win of the Battle of the Bands, kind of boosted us into getting more recording done, building out like a home garage studio type situation so we can actually practice and not spend money. So yeah, it's been fun. Battle of Bands is coming up again soon, so if you're in a band, get ready for that. I'll be there because I have to, hand my crown to someone else. So sorry to whoever has to come after me.
What if you keep the crown? Can you keep it?
Yeah.
Yeah, keep
it's
it.
a metaphorical crown, but
Yeah.
it's not a real crown.
Just win again and be like reigning champions.
Like, can we just enter again and just keep winning? It's fine.
Oh, you can't enter again?
I don't know. Well, I think we have like a waiting period, but I definitely wouldn't want to do it again. Not saying not do at least that one. Maybe another Battle of the Band type. Because that'll be fun.
Yeah.
It's a anxiety-inducing thing because my anxiety was like on 20 that day. Like,
you got that pressure up.
Yeah, and it was the day before my birthday, no less. So it was like, birthday, but I got to actually stay focused.
But y'all won, and then it made the birthday better.
Exactly. It was like actually probably one of the best birthdays because then I had family around. So it was like family and friends and fans. So it was like a lot of emotions all in one.
Yeah.
Kind of like,
you're like, oh my God.
Right, yeah.
It's funny because, like for the longest time, I was like, I gotta come see you play. Finally did. Yeah, you played at some an arts festival in Murfreesboro, and it was a nice day. And so me and the wife and baby girl, came and watched you play.
Very
walked
honored.
around. It was nice. It was a nice time, man. And y'all crushed it, dude.
Thank you.
It's fun to see you in your zone.
Thank you. I was very honored to see you guys out there. I looked up. I was like, I don't know that kid. It was Ozzy. So yeah, it was an honor again. Thank you.
Of course.
Because I never take people showing up to shows lightly. Because again, people always say support local music, and then most people don't show up.
Yeah,
which we understand too, because we know like we're a unique band, as in like we're all adults. Like I'm the only band member not married.
Yeah,
so it's like weird. But I mean, I'm in a long-term relationship, so it's not like that weird. So like 2/3 of us half of us have kids. The drummer has another kid on the way. So it's like we understand like, yeah, we want to go to this thing, but we have to be adults first. So we understand that like ebb and flow of like what responsibility. So again, I appreciate anyone who ever shows up to any show anytime, because I understand life happens.
Yeah.
So
y'all appreciate. Yeah, y'all understand, man. And it's unfortunately a lot of people don't understand that.
They don't.
Yeah. Like
do not.
Yeah, when you're flooded with responsibility, it's hard to make time. And the fact of the matter, even if you do though, every once in a while, right? Like it matters regardless. I don't expect people to show up to everything I do, but hey, it's good to see every once in a while.
Right.
If you can make it happen, you can. You can't.
Yeah.
No grudges held, but y'all get it. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. My favorite thing is I have friends and shout out to friends who do this to you. They'll text me on the show day and like, you're gonna do great. Like they know they can't make it, or I'm like, that's so sweet because considering
you're still here.
because you just literally like now intruded my thoughts, and I'm gonna remember you wish me well, probably knowing that I was like freaking out in my mind, because I'm always freaking out before a show because just natural nerves are like, don't forget the lyrics, don't forget this,
because you care.
Because it's like I love it. I enjoy entertaining people. I realize that's one of the things I was meant to do, is just be in front of people. I don't know. It's an energy.
The center of attention.
Oh, well, no. And that's the thing, though. So it's funny because I don't like being the center of attention. So, I think people think that about me. They're like, oh, probably because of the hair. Daniel calls it peacocking. But people think that, like, I like being the center of attention. Like, no, Josh does not. Now, Jay Starr, the singer, performer guy, loves it.
Yeah.
He is all about it. Josh is like, let me go home, get undercover, play a game. Like,
well,
chill.
it's you see that in a lot of music, I think, especially in metal. Like a lot of the guys are actually pretty low key dudes.
Yeah.
But you see them perform, and it's like, dude, they fucking rock at this.
Butterflower.
But it's because they love to perform. They just love to put their art out, and like so when you're displaying your art, it's a different thing. I mean, in a different sense, my public speaking event I had, it was nerve-wracking, man, but I really cared about it and I wanted to do well, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I hope for some more opportunity like that.
You should get more.
But it's just like, it's like one of those things. Like it doesn't mean I like to be the center of attention.
Right, exactly.
I just, it's not art in that sense, but it's still, you're giving somebody something.
Yeah, no,
and if I could give others value, through my words, just like you give people, bring them joy through your vocals and your music and stuff, like, similar. Right?
No, it's the same thing. You speaking is still art because you have to still write. You still have to like think through like what you're gonna say, like how does it land, like and then knowing you're intentional. Like I know you, like we talked about like how you thought you had a month, but then you had like 2 weeks, and I know you like had to like think through. So you were very intentional about it, and that's still art because it takes just as much brain power to do that as it does like what I do, because like you still have to like, you still want to put your best foot forward. You want to make sure you're saying the right things and it lands, that people are energized by it. So like, it's art. Like don't ever.
Hell yeah.
You're an artist, Joe. You're an artist.
I am an artist.
Yes. Even podcasting is an art form. Like I don't know why people don't consider it. I do. If you're a podcaster, I consider it art form because it, especially when there are like intentional podcasts like this one, like, and that people who take the time to put out a format, and that's art. Like
I think a lot of people, it's given that stigma because so many flirt with the idea.
Yes.
Because people underestimate what it takes.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
But to put out 100 and after this 19 episodes,
Bravo.
it takes a lot of intention, a lot of work and commitment.
Yeah.
Like
and that's art.
Yeah, and you got to be creative with it, and you got to put it out there, and draw emotion from others, and get their stories and stuff. Like it's not necessarily easy to have people just spill their heart open and be vulnerable. So there's a lot of complexities to it, and that a lot of people think they're going to start a podcast. Like there was a statistic a long time ago. It was like 90% of podcasts ever made never get past episode like 2 or 3.
Jeez.
Only 10% of that 10% get past episode like 23.
I believe it.
So you got to think about it, because people are like, shit, this actually, like, I got to get guests lined up. I got to keep it going. I got to be consistent. Like it's a lot of work, man.
Yep. And like a lot of your favorite podcasters, I'm talking to you people, a lot of them have researchers. They have at least a extra person like on hand who's like fact checking, researching, doing all that extra legwork that it takes to keep their podcast rolling. So it's not just as simple as pressing record and like having topics you want to talk about. Like no, like these people are like doing extensive research. Like they're truly like going in the depths of like figuring out and making sure. So like like I said, it takes a lot of work.
It does. It does.
But so I applaud you for it.
I applaud you as well for your musicianship.
Great. Thank you, sir.
One day I'll be playing an instrument again.
Yeah, you can.
Back on that cello game.
Cool.
But I want to get into your journey a little bit before we dive in some other topics. We talked about it before, man. It's like, if Josh and I are an interesting dynamic because, you are who you are.
Right.
For lack of better words, I mean, you're African American, you got blue hair.
It actually, my hair is blue. This is not hair dye. My hair is actually blue.
And you're gay.
Yeah.
Right? And
did you know that, guy?
But I'm like straight, white.
Yeah.
Super trad with like my family layout.
Yeah.
And like head tattoos and runes. And so like we've joked about how like, man, if Fox News or whatever, CNN had like they're videotaping a riot, like we'd be on both different sides of it.
Right.
I mean, from a social scale, like people that look from the out in would never put us two together as friends. Mm-hmm. Why? Because like according to the news and like whatever powers that may be, we're not supposed to be friends.
Exactly.
Like they're always trying to drive a wedge in between that.
Mm-hmm.
And we've opened up a pretty cool dialogue throughout training and we've expressed our viewpoints on things, and they differ a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of similarities too. There's a lot of places we connect. There's never an argument.
No.
There's just open-mindedness and understanding of someone else. So I think, and then like talked about it, like that's kind of the goal here too on this episode, is to kind of like bring that dialogue to life for others to see, like, just because we view things differently and we don't agree on things, guess what? It doesn't fucking matter.
Not the end of the
because
world.
we respect each other as individuals and there's love there. And that's what matters. And I think if we can kind of like show people that, display it, maybe it'll have some impact on the world in a positive way.
Fingers crossed.
Or they're going to be like, man, maybe your side of people are going to be like, man, fuck him for talking to that guy.
I hate both of them.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Yeah. So we're just like the worst.
Mission accomplished.
We already talked about it. I'm going to run for president and you're going to be my Veep.
Yeah.
And people are going to be like, what the hell is going on?
Right. What is this bipartisan ticket bullshit? And I'm like, hey,
we're
you
our own
enjoy
party.
this. Yeah.
We don't fly the red or the blue. We fly the black flag.
Hey, oh my God, a black and gray flag would eat.
Yeah.
Yes, because you're the black, the gray. Okay, we're going to talk about that offline.
Yeah. We're going to have some gold in there too.
Ooh, I love gold. Yeah, okay.
But anyways, but first, we want our audience to get to know you a little bit more, understand your journey a little bit, make it a little bit more personal before we dive into some of these things, we've discussed. And, we don't get to it all today. That's fine. You're going to be with me for a long time, dude.
Thanks.
And we can always tackle it again. So worked out. But Josh takes back to early Josh years, where you reigned from, where you started, dude, where you blossomed into this world.
Good old Memphis.
And then take us through, your childhood a little bit, some influences there that have obviously have created you to who you are today. And, we'll just work our way to now.
Yeah. So I think, let's see, little Josh. I'm from Memphis originally. People joke with me all the time here about like, we don't hear you're from Memphis. And then I get upset and they're like, never mind. There it is. And I'm like, what is that supposed to mean? But Memphis gets a bad rep a lot of times. But I'm like, Memphis is just like any other city. It has crime. It has drama. It has trauma. It has gangs, shootings, robbings, race, everything. It's the same as other city. Is it amplified? Sure. Can it be amplified at times? Yes.
Yeah.
So, I think there was one time, I think it made the top 10 most dangerous cities in America. I think I was here, though, at the time. But growing up in Memphis was not, people always like, oh, how was that? I'm like, it wasn't as traumatic.
They're like patting you on the back.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay?
You survived. I'm like, what? I'm fine, I promise. But yeah, 18 years growing up in Memphis, 90% of my time was spent in church. And I'm not exaggerating that figure at all.
I do want to say real quick, sorry, Wesley was on here a few episodes ago, and he was from Memphis too, and he said there is that stigma with it. Now, I guess it's worse now, he said, but especially in the inner city, you get the typical that you get in any inner city.
Exactly.
But like I know Arsenio was on here, he's from Knoxville, and he was from an area called the Gun Zone. He said it's pretty bad.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you wouldn't think that of Knoxville. As opposed to Memphis, just based off like overall understanding.
Right.
People are like, Knoxville, it's like a college and mountains,
Like, exactly. It's like, oh, Rocky Top, we all like, gun.
Yeah, but like people like, you say you're from Memphis and they act like you were just like, as if you were in like the trenches of World War II or something.
No, exactly how they make it seem. Like, that's big facts. There's even I'm trying to think of the community in Nashville. I can't think, but there's a community in Nashville that has like a similar, like gun runners, run fork or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's a weird, because it's similar, like a gang related neighborhood. And I was like, see, even Nashville has those pockets. Even Murfreesboro has those pockets of like, so it's like, Memphis gets this bad rep, but it's not a bad place, guys. I promise. Great barbecue, great hot wings. Okay place. Just as I would say to anybody, anywhere, anytime, be mindful where you are. Like, you shouldn't go anywhere feeling like, oh, yeah, I'm coming. No, you should always be like, all right, I'm in a new place. I don't know these people. And I'm head on a swivel,
Yeah.
Like, not being overly cautious, but like, I don't know. I just never walk through life like everything's good. I'm always like, all right, I'm going to check my surroundings.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, I'll let you get to it. It was funny. I went down to New Orleans for the first time for my brother's fight. And my buddy Tez went with me, and he had family down like Ninth Ward and stuff. And I was like, dude, we should go. And he was like, Joe, we take you to Ninth Ward. I was like, what? Like, I'll be with you. And they'll like see I'm a friendly. And he was like, Joe, you'll get shot. And I was like, wow, like that's really not cool. Like you said you were so sure about that, like that would happen. He's like, yeah, man, we ain't doing that. And I was like, well, I was just joking, but thanks.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go there. Because,
right.
I am like an outsider. It's like, who the hell is this guy?
Right.
But got to be mindful. I'll go to like where, the different areas.
Yeah, in the main area.
Yeah. But so yeah, from Memphis and
Yeah, said church all my life. So then I decided to go to college here because of the recording industry program at MTSU. Even to this day, I still think it's regarded as one of the best in the country. So I was like, okay, I knew I wanted to do something in recording industry. And my mom was like, oh, I had a dream that I'll show you as a producer. And I was like, okay, I will run on that. Like, your mom. So you're like, all right, I'm going to listen to you for a minute. Yeah. So I ran on that for a moment. I realized that producing may not have been the thing. I think producing in the way I do it now is different than the way I learned like actual production, like audio thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could do all this, but like my brain's like, too much science, too much. But I kept a lot of those principles, I think, and it helps in the audio process for the band stuff.
Did you have any experience maybe like with church? Were you involved with like the production there, or like I don't know, some churches have like a production team, or you might have just had like the gospel. I don't know how that works, but
this was before like churches really started getting production teams too. Like, so we had like a setup that I knew how to use, and I would do it from time to time. Like I'll help out, but I was mostly in the choir. So like, I don't know why it didn't dawn on me that I was supposed to be on the other side of the mic until like I kept trying to put myself behind the mic. Like, no, like let me hide myself. I want to be a producer. Like, no, be in front of it. Like, let the weirdness just show. So that's kind of what happened. Like,
hit a high note.
Yeah. I want vocalists. So yeah, it was like once I came to Murfreesboro for school, I kind of knew I wasn't going to go back home. Like, I think after like the first year, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to move back to Memphis. Like, knock on wood, not saying I wouldn't. But right now, I don't see that. In the near future, don't see that either.
Yeah.
I might be all home in Memphis or something just to visit, but yeah. College here was great. Though this is where everything started to change. I think coming to Murfreesboro is when life started to be like, all right, I felt like I was not under the thumb of a parent, not under the eye of a community. Because, yes, Memphis is a big city, but I was in a lot of smaller communities. Like my church family, mid-sized church, maybe 200 people at the time. So it was very tight-knit, as in like everybody was like, oh, birthdays, graduations, all those things. Like it was very, very tight-knit. Like even to this day, like a lot of them bought my first CD, and I was like, I was like, listen, I want to apologize in advance to you because I don't want to have her. I don't want her to ever have to explain me to anyone. So like the fact that she was like had people wanting to buy the CD, I was like cringing on the inside because it's like, oh, I'm not that little Josh, little 10-year-old doughy-eyed, pink-lipped, smiley Josh.
Yeah,
like, that's not me anymore. Like, I say things you probably wouldn't want to hear, especially on this next album. Oh my gosh, I'm very nervous about that.
Shit gets raw.
Shit gets real nasty. Nasty, not raw. Well, it was raw that night.
Both.
But like, just the idea of like them wanting to buy it was kind of like freaked me out because it's like Murfreesboro changed. Like I said, it's something. I think the freedom, I allowed myself to kind of just explore the world a little more, not under the guise of like I have to be disregarded, pent up little Christian boy, because my mom's watching, or like somebody who knows my mom is watching me, or somebody who knows my mom is watching. Just that feeling of like, all right, because I knew I have like play cousins who are here who grew up in the same neighborhood as me, and their mom and their sister are like really good friends with my mom, and I love them, but I don't feel like they would be the type of people like, you shouldn't be doing that. And if they were, I'd be like, I don't care. Because, so I kind of had to blossom here. I knew I wanted to start a band, like maybe second, third year being here, I knew I wanted to do that. Like take that back. I knew that I wanted to do that before I came here. I used to sing in a gospel group in Memphis, Vince Tharp and Kenosis. And I'll never forget the day I decided this. I was singing with them. We were somewhere and I was like singing and I remember dancing and I looked out at my cousin and she was like dancing with me. And I remember feeling like it'd be great to just be in the front of this. And I thought like, I could do this. I could lead a band. And I was like, but I knew then though, it wouldn't be gospel, it wouldn't be R&B. I knew then I wanted to do like rock or alt rock or pop rock or something.
Yeah.
I was a big Paramore fan. Like that was like both like me being in that group and like graduating was like the time like Paramore, Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, heavy rotation. Like they were my ringtone.
You were talking about these bands and like I know of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think I went through a phase. I talked about this on that last episode. But you know, my whole life growing up I was picked on, you know, never really fit in. I moved a lot, you know, so I probably moved like 7 times my childhood. So it's like I just always kind of knew just different areas. And I made friends and stuff, but I also always just like being a new guy, you're gonna get bullied.
Yes.
And it's like it doesn't matter. Like it's like it is what it is. Like I don't really care. It's but then I had a big growth spurt in high school before I moved to North Carolina. So I got to move to a very small town from a big city. And I was like big dude, played football and stuff. You know, so I got to like get some new clothes, go to Hollister, you know, and like just carry myself differently and like actually enjoy it, right? And have a presence and be good at football, you know, kind of have a leg ahead. And so yeah, I just like, I don't know, I just want to be popular. I want to fit in, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and I listened to like just rap music, you know, like I just went, I don't know when it shifted, but I just started listening to rap. And like everybody liked rap. Yeah. And so, and I got into it. But it's so funny because I think about who I was then and then like up to the military, you know, I just like kind of circling back around to who I am. Mm-hmm. And like I'm really just like a bigger version of like middle school Joe. Middle school Joe was like painting his fingernails black and skateboarding and listening to new metal. Nice. And then like now I'm just like a bigger jacked goth version of like, you know, of like middle school. So at the end of the day, the thing is like, man, I was always good just being myself.
Right. Yeah.
I never had to fit no mold. Mm-hmm. Just being myself works now. I don't fit any kind of mold, you know. And I did want to say what you said about, you know, talk about the blue hair. You just want to be in front of people. And it's like you say, you know, boyfriend says like peacocking. Mm-hmm. Like I have like definitely, you know, I get told I stick out, but I don't intend on it. I just like I express myself through the tattoos and my look, like, but I'm not really like looking for attention.
Exactly. No, it does.
Just kind of like I'm just being me.
Yeah.
You know?
I tell people that I dress for just the way I feel. Mm-hmm. So if I look comfortable, it's probably feeling comfortable. Mm-hmm. If I'm like dressed up, I'm like I get dressed up based on how I feel, not like to satiate anybody else. Like if I decide to wear bold colors, oh well. If I decide not to, oh well. Like it's truly for myself.
Yeah, exactly.
I had to start doing that. That was oh my God, that was a whole struggle trying to like growing up in Memphis. And I've had this conversation with my boyfriend too because growing up, he grew up in Jackson, Tennessee, which is like. In between Memphis and Nashville. Yeah, like actually it's closer to Memphis, like 45 minutes. Okay. So like the thing is only 45 minutes, but it's so different. Like the landscape is so different because in Memphis, like if you weren't wearing the newest Jordans or the coolest polo or Gerbold or what was the other Dickie, like if your clothes weren't in, we were wearing uniform at the time. Yeah, like I don't know if you had to wear school uniform. We had to wear school uniform because it got so bad, like with people picking on people because of what they wore. That even in uniform, you still got picked on if like your Jordans, like if you didn't have the coolest forces and stuff like that. Yeah. So it growing up in Memphis kind of changed a lot of that, like the way I like look at clothing and dressing and stuff like that. Because as I got older, I kind of wanted to break myself from that, like from feeling like I needed to get dressed for other people. Yeah. Because like getting ready for school sometimes became like anxiety inducing, like. I had to, like, knowing that my mother had become a single parent and was taking on burdens from divorce that, you know, somebody didn't hold up their end of the bargain based on what the court said. I had to be conscious about that and, like, you know, sure, okay, so now I can't, like, she can't afford Jordans all the time, and I don't want to keep asking my older brother to buy me shoes or stealing his shoes. I stole a lot of my brother's shoes, but I'm a younger brother, so I feel like that's a part of the thing. Like you're supposed to take from your siblings. Like he takes from me. Like so it's fair. You know, we just even exchange. But I realized I was like, hey, I can't get Jordans, and like Jordans really weren't my thing. So I started wearing Vans. I started buying Converse, and that's when like it kind of, it perfectly felt like worked out with the music too, because it's like I was wearing Converse, and the next thing you know, I'm listening to Paramore. And shout out to MTV. They did it like that's when they actually played music videos.
Yeah, God, I know. I remember those days.
Hey, I mean, you're only a year older than me, so of course.
Yeah,
but like they used to play a lot of get to know, like what artists you need to know. That was the thing, and it would be like a minute clip of like an artist. And I remember like that's how I got into Santa Gold, who's like a singer rapper from Philadelphia, MIA. She's Sri Lankan. Like all these different artists. Like this is where I kind of started to push the boundary of like, okay, I like this. Like I openly like this. I'm not just saying I like this and then like hiding in the corner. Like one of the things, like you probably seen this on Facebook. People are like, oh, what's your favorite white song? And I'm like, they turn a lot of them. And like, but part of me cringes too, because it's like I don't look at music sometimes as like a white thing or a black thing, or like, because in reality, like most music stemmed from a couple of genres that were started by black people, and then they kind of like rose through. Like there are a few that like, you know, that weren't. But I don't look at it as like, I don't look at rock as exclusively white or exclusively black. It's music, you know?
Yeah, I guess if I like have to think about it, black metal is typically white dudes from Europe, you know, but like those are like Northern European countries. So of course, like there's like three black people there, you know? Just maybe somebody can correct me. I don't know the statistics, but you know, I don't really think of it as like color music. I'm just like, there's just different genres.
Exactly. So like I hated that was part of it too. Like, so having to fight the shame, not even the shame, but the stigma of like, this is white music. And if you like this, you're white facing, you're trying to act white. It's like, no, I enjoy Paramore because Haley Williams can sing and the drummer is amazing. And I love My Chemical Romance because it's a vibe. And like, I feel like they have a great range as a band. Sometimes they go into deep metal stuff, and sometimes they go into light, airy, poppy rock. You know, those are the reasons why I enjoy the music. Yeah. So like growing up in Memphis made that kind of hard for me as a black kid, just being real, like as a black kid in the hood, no less. So like we didn't like the hood. It was considered the hood for some reason, but like it made things harder. Like you had to, again, dress a certain way, look a certain way, and Murfreesboro changed that for me, and I'm thankful for college for that time. Yeah. For the exploration, and I'm also thankful to my mom as well, because I know a lot of it too stems from her being comfortable enough to let me, like allow me, because like a lot of parents are like, oh, you can't do this, you can't, like they super monitor what their kids do. And to a certain extent, I say, do that, please do. Because she did. Like, I didn't have a TV in my room until I was like 15, 16. Yeah. Like, and I think the TV I did have before that didn't have cable. So I'm only watching like at night, maybe a show or two. Like, I still remember the Andy Griffin whistle because I knew that was time for me to go to bed. Yeah. Like, I'm watching maybe
That's where I grew up.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, you know.
Like legit.
Yeah.
I grew up outside of Mayberry.
That's crazy.
Pilot Mountain. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I grew up where they did that show.
So that show probably really does hit home for you.
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, yeah, like that's kind of Memphis and church, I feel like, are the biggest shapers of my journey. Yeah. Like they kind of decided for me where I was gonna go. Like from those two things, I feel like played a big role in who I am today. Why I decided, because at Murfreesboro, 3 hours away from Memphis. If I want to go home right now, I could. I could literally be home in 3 hours and still drive back here, and it'll still be the same day. That was part of the reason why.
Depends on what time you're driving down 24. Yeah.
So
add another couple hours to it.
Thank G they opened up 840, because if they didn't, I
love 840.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's such a nice ride. Yeah. Like even going towards like Knoxville, I had to do a couple of weddings in Gallatin. I'm also a wedding officiant too, so that's another part of the story. And just the drive is so nice. Like shout out to them. Tennessee. That's one of the reasons I probably will never leave Tennessee, like I will say, it's high up on the list. Scenic as shit. Like
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Like from Memphis to Knoxville to Chattanooga, it's just scenic. Like you get mountains in one part of it, you got flat land in the next, you got water over here. Like scenic.
Yeah,
just love it.
Tennessee is beautiful.
Yeah. So part of the reason why I might not leave Tennessee, I know there's probably want someone in there, but I don't care. It's
be all right.
Nice, nice state.
But so you were saying, I think one thing you talked about was like, you moved to Murfreesboro and you're able to like kind of embrace, your own style and way of things because you had to be a certain way there. Right. And I think whether you're in the hood or whether you're in the suburbs or some rural area, it's interesting to see the conditions of which people think you're supposed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there's a key part of me moving around that I think was important too, just to see like people are different everywhere. And like, you don't have to follow into any kind of conditions. I mean, I get it. Like my daughter's going to have conditions on like values and things of that nature,
right? And
things that I believe in. I think that that's all of our intention, but it's also very freeing when you can break away from like, nah, dude, I don't have to do any of that shit.
Right.
I'm just going to do my thing.
Yeah,
because that's what my heart's called to do. So, every area you grow up in, I think there's just conditions set on like how you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to listen to, whatever the case is. And it's like, screw that shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you break the mold, you're like the black sheep of the world. You're like, funny. I actually won most,
but only to those people.
Yeah. Yeah. Only those people. I won most original in high school. And I was like, again, I look back at the picture. Then it didn't make sense, but it did in a way. But now, as an adult, I see my like senior superlative. I'm like, oh God, I was so difficult. Like it's like yes, I was very original. But part of me wasn't embracing it. Like I had a fanny pack on in my like superlative photo because I just weird. Just had to be weird.
You just had your thing. Yeah. Now I'm weird. I guess.
No, not at all. Like, no, the world is embracing you because I will credit you. Like we were out Saturday shopping, and I was like, man bag central. Like everybody got a man bag now. Like it's kind of crazy. Like like I remember wanting one, but being in fear of like looking too gay. And it's like looking around, I was like, half y'all have wives. Like what the fuck is this? Like gay you get. I'm kidding. It's just like that's the part of it. Like that's a part of it too. Like being afraid of looking too gay or looking certain way or like that also shapes and I had to break out of that like mindset of like okay like. Is there a thing as such as too gay? Like I think that's all preference. Like what do you like? It's all about the person. Like I don't think there's a such thing as too gay for me.
Yeah.
Like, yes. No, it's not. Sorry. I had to think about let me think that. No. But I get that though. Because I understand the sentiment that people like. It's not. They don't get it. Like I get that. Like I think I've understood that because I have my own personal struggles with like sexuality. So I understand those people who are like, I don't get it. It's that those who don't respect it that I think is where it starts to get like, all right, that's a problem. Because like you can not understand and not get it all day because, bitch, I don't understand it either. Shit, I'm 20 something. I'm 33, still trying to figure out how this works. Like I wouldn't have chose this myself personally. I'll admit.
Just for ease, I guess.
No, 1,000%. Like you genuinely have to lie to people. Yeah. Like I had to like lie, scheme, create a personality. That's why a lot of gay people are good at like being like scammers because they've had to truly become this second version of themselves. Like there are three versions
in order to fit a mold.
Exactly. There are three versions of Josh that exist in Memphis. And I had to decide which one it actually is me or do I combine? Like, that's what that struggle was. Like, do I combine them? Do I kill all three of them? Like, what does that look like? Because I had to lie at church about one thing. I had to lie at school about another thing. I had to lie at home about so all those lies end up creating like three different personalities that I eventually had to hold up to because of fears of different reasons. So
ridicule and judgment and all those things.
Yeah. So like, it's, I always like weird segue, but I always understood that like when people say like, oh, I don't get like, the whole trans, like we've talked about this, the whole trans thing, the people say I don't get it. That's fine. I don't think that personally, I don't think that's an issue if you don't understand it because it's not for you to understand. It's for that person. That person is dealing with something themselves. It's their spirit, their body, their soul feels like it's trapped in another body. That's them.
Yeah.
I can only understand it to a certain extent, and that's where then after that my brain's like, I don't get it, but I'm gonna be here for you because I understood what it was like for me to struggle.
Well, you say that, and we've talked about that recently too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like I told you, I was like, I don't agree with it, nor do I understand it, but that's the thing.
Yeah,
just because of those things, and I think this is where people get things misconstrued though, because as soon as someone says they don't understand it, they don't agree, people take it personally or they take offense.
Yeah.
Without like kind of segueing into the next piece of that. Guess what? But I don't care either. Like I can't understand the things you went through. I can't. Like, I could put myself in your shoes to a degree, and others' shoes to a degree, but I'm never going to understand why you are the way you are. I'm never going to be like, for me to say I agree, I mean, would almost be like, well, then why am I not that way? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And that's the thing though, but it doesn't matter because like at the end of the day, I see what's in here. I see what's in your heart.
Right.
I see the good person, the person in there that I do connect with, and like that soul. I understand there's so much more similarity there.
Yeah.
We both feel different things. We both have emotions. We both, care about others. We both have all these different things that we do come together on. And so whether you agree with my way of life or like how I view things with like having my wife and my daughter and like wanting to live that kind of way, that traditional kind of structure and vice versa, like none of that really matters because like, again, you can't understand my experience.
Exactly.
Like there's a lot of things that formulated and came together for me to be who I am today. I can't expect anybody to understand or live that. Vice versa, man. So I think people take immediate offense to someone that's like, don't agree. Like I got so upset because, feelings about my beliefs. But at the end of the day, like it doesn't matter.
Right.
I know what I believe in. I know what I stand for. And like, why am I upset that he just doesn't, at the end of the day, he doesn't understand.
Right. Yeah. That's literally it.
Even if someone was to say something ugly about it, it's like, fine. Like that's all, but you understand ugly things. Like that's what you've been taught. And I can't hold that against you.
Right.
I just got to set the example for what I am. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's exactly what you're saying, because I think that I wish I could figure out why people say I don't agree, it triggers people. I take that back. I do understand why it triggers people, but I wish that when people say like I agree, I wish they meant it like the way you did. Because when you say you don't agree, you say you don't agree and you don't care. It's in the story. I feel like in the year and a half I've known you, we talked about trans issues maybe like twice.
Yeah.
And most of that's been more recently because of the election. And I feel like that's a genuine you don't care. It's the people like, what's that psycho senator's name? It's the woman. It'll come to me. I tried to block her out because I blocked her. I was like, I'm tired of seeing people retweet this. She's been recently talking about bathrooms. And she, it's so comical because like liberals are considered snowflakes, but it's like this is such snowflake, right? She took the word biological, she wrote it on a sheet of paper and then put it over the women's bathroom sign. It was like biological women only. And it's like, and somebody went through her Twitter and within like a 24-hour period, she talked about the same issue like 40 times.
Yeah.
And it's like, not even something that's like that's not something that's on the docket for her. It's just like, she just kept like, why is it bothering you so much? Like about this one thing when in reality you shouldn't care. Like, you don't have, like, again, I think that people you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree.
Yeah. I mean, like on that token, like I believe there's males and females, like biologically, right? But dude, at the same time, like, but I don't understand, like, if you feel different, like, I don't know, it's impossible for me to be like, but I get exactly why you feel the way you do.
Right.
I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, do I think there's people that may go into a girl's bathroom and claim that are for perverse reasons? Sure. But just on the other end, man, there's still like straight people with negative intention too. Like, or like people that aren't trans that play off a certain thing. Yeah. It's all comes down to the individual specifically. But when it comes to that, like I don't know, man. It's like, I see things as like, yeah, male, female, but it doesn't mean like, that doesn't, at the end of the day, I still can't get into your mind and your heart and like, like get it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's hard to like word.
No. I think that's you're wording it correctly for the particular conversation. Because a lot of people don't word it at all. Like they will just rather like, and just kind of move around it. Like you made a great point in saying like you don't agree, like you don't get it, you don't understand. And I think that's again, it's fair points. Like, no, I think the biggest issue is when it becomes like a constant issue, you know? Yeah. Like you said, you don't care, you can move on from it. I don't get why people can't. Like, what about it? Now, part of it, and this is not for everybody. It's not a generalization, but for some people, I think a part of it is that they want that freedom. They don't, because I mentioned this to you. Like when I was working at Cracker Barrel in town, I was talking to someone, and I think, was it the actual person or one of the servers? I can't remember at this point. It's been so long ago, so much ago. That the conversation boiled down to like the guy was mostly upset because he saw the youth and the liveliness in everyone else, and because he's not able to have that anymore, that freedom. Yeah. Oh yeah. Even another great example. I was thinking about this guy used to sugar daddy, if you will. And he basically told me he was envious of me that I was able to like walk in my truth and live that way. And I was like, I was like 20, so he's like 52 at the time, maybe 3, he's like 57 and some. So I was like, why couldn't that be the case for you now? Like, I understand, like, you're married, but in essence, oh shit, I said that out loud. Well, he was married. I was young, dumb. You make mistakes, people. Hey. But I was like, we would actually have conversations too, and he enlightened me to a lot of things, a lot of like just I'll get into, but. The first thing was that, like, like, you're married. Like, why wouldn't that be something like, because he had cheated before, and like his wife knew about it, and like this is not the first time. Like, so he's a serial cheater. So I'm like, one, why would you just not like sever that tie? Because like I don't understand why you would keep in the same cycle with this woman, or like why she would keep allowing you to do this to her. But yeah, it was like he illuminated my light to that, like, what we talked about earlier, space where you grow up, all those things play a part into like who you become, because of the space, he wasn't able to like explore that side of messing around with a guy, or even the idea, like when I met him, he only liked I'm gonna use lingo here, T-girls, and that's like guys who dress as women. Marby uses wrong, but like I have no idea. Yeah, no, so it would be like a guy who like me, but like in a wig. Or a trans woman, or like a transsexual. Okay. So like it's mostly we mess up with. Like I was the first guy, and probably the only guy to this day that he fooled around with. And I was like, what? And like one time he asked me to kind of cross dress, and I was like, I started to, but then I was like, that's not me though. Like you're here for me, so like, and you've been here over a year and a half now. Like it's like a year in. Yeah. Like what do you mean? So like just knowing that like. He wanted to explore life more and couldn't because of his like surroundings, because of like the things that way he was brought up, his all that. It like let me know like, damn, that matters. Like all those things matters. Like supportive parents. Like I didn't know my mom was gonna be supportive or not, so I didn't really come out until like a year or two ago. Because of religion, that's another thing. But like, so all those factors played into why he himself couldn't really blossom into the adult he wanted to. So now he's like in his 50s fooling around with like dudes half his age, or messing off with trans women who are scamming him out of his money and things like that, because he wasn't allowed to truly blossom. And it's like, well, damn, like, and I feel bad. I feel bad for his wife now, at least. Because it's like, I'm like, there are things that she won't do for him. And I'm like, what? Would you just not, can you just ask for that? And he's like, well, that kind of, I'm like, well, that's another problem. I'm like, well, shit. Like, so now you're in a marriage you don't want to be in with a woman when you probably want to be with a man or a transsexual. And then you can't get certain things you like would like to have done. It's like, so like now you just have all these things adding up against you that are, I think that guy's just like, he's lost, man. Yeah, no, I hate that for him too, though. This is like, that's why I was like, I felt like, damn, like that shaped to where I was like, all right, I never want to be in a situation where I feel like I'm trapped or like this is like I'm married to you now, so we just in it. Like, no, like that's weird. Like, and I know that's part of that comes from his upbringing too, though. Like, where marriage is seen as like this badge of honor, where it can be, but also like I genuinely don't believe some people want to be married. Like,
Oh no.
like I like not saying he shouldn't be, like probably shouldn't though. Like,
I mean, I think if you're cheating on your wife, like, I mean, that's
yeah.
standpoint. I mean, I would never cheat on mine, you know.
Yeah.
So
Lydia's amazing.
yeah. So that's confusing, man, because he just seems like he's lost there.
Yeah, no, he's one.
But you also got to have compassion for that, because like there's a lot of reasons of why he feels that way, and then his mind is just fucked. It's probably chaotic up there.
Yeah,
you know, and so you think about that stuff, you know, and like I don't know, like I don't get where he's at, and I probably never will understand it.
No, not at all. Because it's like I couldn't imagine being past my midlife crisis and having like that many issues running at one time about something that like I could have dealt with, and like that truly kind of I was like, all right, I do want to truly walk in, like be that light, like walk in my truth of like, all right, this is who I am. Like, I love it. I don't give a fuck anymore. Because like I realized then like he was the last straw. I was like, all right, I know too many adults who are unhappy. Like, I'd rather, like, just in bad spaces. Like, and I mean adults like in like 50, 60, 70 on the tail end of life, like in shit spaces, not in good head spaces, because they allowed the expectations of their environment, home life, all that to kind of shape them, and I think you should. Not saying you shouldn't, because again, it shaped me. It shaped me a lot. But it also didn't hold me back.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like you know, a lot of people think like especially they're raised in certain conditions, right? They're supposed to live this way and go about life this way, believe in this and all those things. And so because of that, you know, most people never, if they have any questions, they feel bad about having questions towards anything, so they don't even go there. Right. Or that leads them to just having like, you know, acting out of like irrationally and doing something crazy or like, you know, and then maybe keeping it a secret or whatever the case is, rather than just kind of like, man, you know what? I'm just going to like start from scratch and like create my own life. Yeah. You know, for me, it was, you know, like on my end, like with the spiritual beliefs, like religion stuff, like at the end of the day, like, yeah, I battled with that. That was like a really harsh conviction before I leaped into paganism to the depth I have. And because I was like, dude, I'm going to go to hell. I'm like, oh my God, this is all I ever known. Like, oh my God, like I'm going to burn in hell. Like if I'm wrong, oh my God. And then I realized like, fuck that, dude. I'm not going to live in that kind of fear. I don't believe in that. I know I'm on my path. I can feel it here, and I'm going to stay true to that. And, you know, a lot of that comes down to conviction, because people are going to say things, right? And you got to just, you know, at the end of the day, if someone's making accusations of you or misjudging you, it's about understanding like, well, at the end of the day, that's all they know. Yeah. Like that's on them. Like I can't allow them, that one individual or that group of people, to facilitate how my life turns out. Right. Because at the end of the day, if you are able to step fully into who you are and your path, well, then there's going to be people that embrace you along the way and help uplift that rather than condemn you. And sometimes you got to be okay with that condemnation from others, because like at the end of the day, they don't matter. Yeah, you know, they're not the one that their soul is not the one. You have your shit that carries on eternally, right? Like that's they're neither here nor there. They're just there for a chapter to show you something. Right. But a lot of people fall into this trap, man, and you get people that like get to the end of their days and they're, you know, they lived life this same structure, but did they ever really experience life? Right. You know, did you ever like try to understand people or try to learn things or question things or just experience life overall? Right. You know, like, I don't know. To me, that seems kind of shitty too. Yeah. No. You know? Like, yes. Very like, why live a comfortable life? Yeah. It's just not my thing. Yeah.
Because I think there's a way to be comfortable in life and still like try things without, because I'm not saying go out there and do coke, everybody. Like, I think that's what we're not saying. Like, not saying like, but I feel like there is as you get to know yourself, you figure out what you like, what you want to do. Like, and I feel like if you aren't taking that time to truly explore, like, I never in a zillion years thought I would like hiking, but I do. I like being outside a lot. Yeah. I had horrible allergies as a kid. Yeah, like listening, it sucks. Like listening to you here, I actually really hear you talk through the ear because like you hear the true bass in your voice and like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. You have a very good, like you have a good radio voice.
Thanks, man. Do what I can. I do what.
That's why the narration works. Yeah, totally.
You were saying
allergies.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I had really bad allergies growing up as a kid. Like, there was a time that I like couldn't go to school. Didn't go to school once because I was like sneezing and draining so bad. College same way. It wasn't until I started drinking some like herbal medicinal tea, like they had like bee pollen and stuff in it. And so I started listening to all the, as they call them, woo woo hoes. And that's when it kind of went away. So like now I can hike as much as I want. Like of course I have to drink some every now and then, but it's not as bad as I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So like never in a million years I thought I would like hiking until, growing out of that mold of that mindset of like only certain people do certain things.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean I get it to a certain extent, but like it's been like that for so long. Like it's really it's a hard thought battle because it's like I gotta keep talking white a lot, and it's like that's not a thing. Yeah. I just depending on who I'm around, like it truly does. Like there are times like it might change if I'm around certain people, but like there's no such thing as like talking white. It's like no, you either speaking with clear diction and enunciating your words, or you're talking like gobbledygook. Those are the only two options as a human. Like
gobbledygook,
okay, or slang. We'll call it slang for today. Slang. Like I don't know. Like it's just always that need to kind of like try and break out of the mold is kind of like why I did. Like I don't think I meant to purposefully, but yeah. Like
I think I don't know. I think some of us kind of break free from giving a fuck.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I think it, and I hear people all the time like, I just don't care what anybody thinks. Yeah. But like most of the people that like constantly preach that care what everybody thinks.
Oh yeah.
I care about what people think about my character.
Yes.
And how I hold myself. Yes. But that's about it. Like how I look, what I believe in, dude, that's for me, man. And like, I don't really give a shit whether you jive with it or not, but like you can't knock my character.
Yes.
And so, and people think, the best way to get people to see things the way they do is tell them that's the way, or tell them that's the only way, or tell them they have to be this way.
Right.
And then if you don't agree with it, or you like don't want to be like that, well then
you're wrong.
You're wrong. Or you're wrong. You're going down. You're going down. And it's like, well, that doesn't help either because like naturally I'm going to rebel. And so you're driving that wedge further. And so like we talked about it before. I was like, dude, I have the things I stand for and I believe in. I have my viewpoints that sometimes certain viewpoints shift, I think just as I experience life. And as I grow, because I'm trying to grow every day, but there's certain things like I stay concrete on.
Yeah.
And so while I think that is the right way, that's for me. That's the right way for me. That's what I feel my heart is the right direction. Now, how do I influence people? How do I get people to kind of see things the way I do? Well, guess what? I'm not going to tell them they need to. I'm not going to impose it on them because because all that's going to do is lead them to be like, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be the example of what I want to be, what I stand for. And live that life, man. And like keep that communication open, keep an open heart towards others, an open mind towards like experiences and whatnot. And then maybe someday someone's like, dude, like, hey, like, can you talk to me about how like just to be in line with your path or whatever it is? And I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Like then that's when the door's open and I'll discuss things, but like I'm not going to push it on anybody.
Right.
And I think, we got into the political thing. I think both sides of the political spectrum, there's a lot of pushing things.
Oh yeah.
To get people to think this way or to get people to think this way.
Right.
And like that just causes people to just get louder. And it causes things to become more chaotic.
That's
what I'm saying?
That's how we are where we are now, honestly.
Yeah, 110%, man. Because you got teams. It's the same thing with the freaking football team.
Yes.
Except one of them. The difference between politics and that is like people are just getting drunk over one of them. You know what I'm saying? Well, true. People are getting drunk with politics, but yeah, it's a weird. Like I just want to be. I have an example of what I want to embody, and I'm just going to live that.
Yeah.
Either people get down with it or not, but it's not going to be pushed on anyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And I think we've talked about this too. I think the biggest issue is the reason why that happens a lot of times is because people don't want to listen to anybody else talk about their experiences. They don't. Let's just keep it a beam. They don't want to listen. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. Because if they did, they would listen and try to listening to understand versus listening to respond, two different things.
Yeah.
Because if you listen to understand, you will see that, oh, you've gone through things like I have. Okay, well, that situation made you feel like X situation made me feel interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's genuinely the biggest issue, and I will preach this till I'm blue in the face. The biggest issue is that we don't listen to each other. Yeah. We only talk at each other. Like you said, we're only trying to push things on each other. Like, let me push my opinion on you. And it's like, no, I should listen to you. Because, like, I think that's probably where this came from. But, like, even the trans conversation or even around the election is that, like, you saying you don't agree. And I'm saying, okay, I listen to you. You listen to me. You listen to why I say I understand where they come from. I listen to why you don't agree. And I'm like, okay. Because nothing you've ever said has been disrespectful. Yeah. Or has been like, maybe I shouldn't be around Joe. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I voted this election. I mean, this is going to pretty much where I voted based on trans issues, based on drag queens, like all those things in my community that make sense to me, that I understand to a degree. Because again, never done drag, never been a trans, never going to be. So, but I understand to a certain degree what they went through to get to where they are. So I voted that way. Yeah. And you didn't agree. You probably didn't. And that's fine. And I think, but you've always been you've always listened. And even if you didn't agree in that moment or didn't understand it or didn't even give a fuck, you weren't rude. You weren't disrespectful about it. You weren't trying to also like, well, let me reverse this on you and try to get this gotcha moment out of you. Because then that happens a lot too. Instead of listening, people try to make this like, oh, well, did you know that 1 in 12 pedophiles groom? Like, you're still not listening to me. Yeah. You're just trying to find a way to win the argument or have your moment. And it's like, no.
One thing we do agree on is pedophiles.
Absolutely not. Yeah, no.
Off with the head.
Easily, peasily, please give it to them. Like, that just is.
Yeah. But, we agree on that. And so that's the whole thing, too. And that's the thing. Well, people would maybe from that standpoint be like, well, you support these people, so you support pedophiles.
Yeah. It's like,
it's
what?
Like, wait, what? No. Yeah. Like, because we both agree that those are the worst.
Yeah.
But, like, and I think this, even if, like, I try to understand somebody, doesn't mean I'm going to understand them.
Right.
But I can still respect them, and, like, with the vote thing, like, based off of, like, my choice with it, like, again, just like you, it's based off of like my world and like what's going to benefit my family and my business and like, and I look at some other things, some topics, even on a worldwide that I think it would benefit. But at the end of the day, like, we're still placing hope in other people.
Yeah.
To do what we hope them to do.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean they're going to deliver.
Ew.
Because like, dude, it's, sure, you could support this candidate or that candidate because they say all the things and they're showing you that they're going to do all these things. But like, man, not one has ever just fallen through with everything they said they're going to do. You know what I'm saying? So you're also like putting in some hope that like, man, I hope these guys are on my team and they like kind of fulfill what I hope for them. But at the end of the day, like, if I would have woke up and like Harris was president, I would have gone about my day the same way I do every day and loved my girls, freaking came to work, done my thing, and whatever happens, I can roll with and I can figure out. But like a lot of this shit, I don't have control over.
Yeah, not at all.
And honestly, to a degree, those people only have so much control.
Facts. Yeah, that's another big issue. People control. It's the need to control everything. Like, there are people, like I joke with my boyfriend about this all the time. Like, I tell him he's controlling. And to an extent, he is. He knows that. And that's why we get along, because I don't give a fuck that I allow it at times. I'm like, I'm not going to debate it. I'm like, I will go with the flow versus sometimes going against the grain, because I know if at this moment, if it's going to cause an argument, I'm going to go with it, because there's no point. Like, there's no point in us arguing right now. Like, there'll be a time like, I'm not going to argue with you about this.
Yeah. Or I'm just going to shrug my shoulders and be like,
yeah. I'll talk shit in my head and move on from it. You know what I mean? But like, there's always this need to control things, and it happens on both sides of the coin, right? Because you'll have like X saying, "Oh, we should do this," and then you'll have Y saying, "Oh, but we should do this." And instead of, there's no one willing to concede, there's no one willing to listen. Like, they're all about, I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on this, and they're not budging.
Yeah.
And what it becomes is, eventually you get somebody who comes up behind you and pushes you up, like, yeah, and it becomes like more people joining the cause, and it's like, okay, that's great and all. I need you to stand 10 toes down on it, but like, what's the solution? Like, what are you getting to? Like, what is it? Like, are you at the end of the day, like, realizing like, okay, are you going to change that person's mind? If not, move on.
Yeah.
Cause like now we're just beating dead horses, and it becomes like, well, people are like, oh, they're talking about the same thing and it's the same problem. It's like, well, sorry, like that person keeps beating that dead horse because they don't realize they're talking to somebody that's not going to change.
Yeah.
That's set in their mind. And again, that is fine.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know when it became so bad to just like have a differing opinion. It's like, it's okay to have a difference of opinion. It's about how you go about the difference of opinion, I think, is the issue.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people, like, I'm not going to just like stop being friends with you over political issues. I'm stop being friends with you over political issues when you're disrespectful about it.
Yeah.
Or like you've gone out of your way to make me feel some type of way. Then that's when it becomes a problem. But like, it's, I don't know. Like you said, you don't agree? That's fine. Like, the world doesn't, like you said, if Harris was president, you woke up, your day would have been the same.
Yeah.
It would have been the same exact day. Like, I woke up, he was president now. Like, same day. I still
So
had to go to work
out.
Yep. Still had to work out. Still had to go to work that day. Still has to deal with all the, day-to-day ins and outs. Sure, like, there are a few thoughts that are looming over my head, but like, that doesn't change the fact that my life still had to go on, like, because most of the things neither here nor there will affect me that he does, if he can do anything. Because again, we just talked about, they might have the power, but do they have the actual control?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, because there's always been bigger pieces at play.
Exactly.
Control that's deep-seated that we don't even see.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the thing. Is well, it's like the showboating thing. I think people do that, and like whoever would have won, you're going to have people on either side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've told you, chug a beer, and they're like, screw you. And it's like, okay, guys, well, just say you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the reason I like, whether I do a boxing match or I do this or that, like, I never show off. Because, like, man, if I get knocked down, I'm going to look like a damn fool.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's like, man, if you're wrong, though, you're going to look like an asshole.
Right.
Right. But and some people will still, like, defend it, but it doesn't matter. But it's like, either way, it's like, guys, okay, it's so simple, too. Like, you go do your thing, you play your part as an American, you vote, you check the thing, so-and-so won, great, thumbs up, go about your life. Celebrate that with your people, but to get, like, I don't know. Some people just get so overly show it, like they make an identity out of whoever it is, and
on
it's
both
like,
sides of the coin.
On both sides, big time, And it's like, chill out, man. You're like worship these people.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day,
cult behavior for real.
At the end of the day, like, what do I have control over? Well, myself.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I lose control of that. And I'm human. But, I got control of my little scope, I'm going to raise my daughter. I can only control things there for so long, but she's going to become who she's going to become. Mm-hmm. My wife and I have the same understanding on most things, so we got control there, but that's about it. I got control about my actions every day and how I react to whatever the fuck's going on.
Right.
But I don't know, man. It's just, it's so much simpler, man. I think that you said it, people just want to, they let opinions divide them. And they don't want to have conversation.
Right.
And I say that's where the shift comes, is like actually having conversations with people, but like not taking their viewpoint personal.
Right.
But we take, like, if you're like, I say you were like, oh, I support this group. And I'm like, oh my God, he's trying to impose that on my daughter and my family. And I'm like, people do that. And it's like, no, dude, back the fuck up. Like, I still know where I maintain control, and like, there's no threat of that, but people feel as if like they're so out of control of anything. Yeah. And it's only to I guess. I mean, the universe is going to play how it will. We're only have minimal control, but you get what I'm saying.
Free will is another conversation we'll have. Yeah. But like, it's because because the idea that, I know I joked about this with you, that your child can go to school a boy and then come back a girl is crazy to me. Because one, it dates back to where we initially talked about their environment. if your child is in an environment where they know that's not going to be accepted, 9 times out of 10 they probably won't out of fear. If they know that is, they might bring it to you again. Like the child's only going to do what you as an adult allow.
But yeah, what kind of example do you set too? Are you yelling at them like, this is how it's going to be?
Right.
Because that authoritarian way isn't very constructive as well, because you're creating a fear-based understanding, not like, more of a connection-based, right? So I think, like voicing things to my daughter, like, hey, this is how me and your mother are. This is the path, right? And you just, I don't know, you open the dialogue to like create trust rather than fear, because fear forces rebellion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so like your kids at the end of the day, like they're coming home and they're seeing, they're paying attention to you. You're the ones that gave birth. You're the ones they had that connection with. So they're going to like replicate that. And if you're absent and you're not giving a shit, well, then they're going to like drift away, from whatever it is that you preach. It's like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, because I know so many people like that. I actually knew a guy who worked at Cracker Barrel in Murfreesboro with me for a while, who told me, lack of better words, that he contracted AIDS as a revenge to his family.
Wow.
Yeah. Like he said, he went into extreme. Yeah, he went into porn. He like did the whole drugs. He did the whole 9. He was like, after my dad put me out, when I came out to him, he was like, I just wanted to say fuck them to all of them. So I went and did whatever. I didn't care. I wanted to hurt them, and in turn, I hurt myself. I was like, that was deep for me. Like,
dude, that's super deep.
Like he showed me I watched the porn like he was in, and I was like, wow. He was like, looking back, like, and I could still see a bit of that in him, like that rebellion, and even like the time he spent here in Murfreesboro with his dad, there was still that the arguments and debates, because I don't think he truly realized what he had done himself. Like by even telling, like being able to articulate that out loud, letting me know that there was some deeper issues, was like the fact that you still felt that, and like you moving back in with your dad after like 5 or 6 years of not being at home lets me know that, like, yeah, okay, y'all weren't in the right space. Like I understand why you did it, because you wanted to get there, but I felt like he should have probably maybe gotten there first.
It's interesting you say that too. He has those deeper issues.
Yeah.
And like what's interesting about that is like, that's what people lack understanding is too. Like a lot of times, wherever we're at in life, people are making decisions a lot of times based off of trauma or deeper problems.
Yes.
Right. I've made some decisions in my life that are definitely, I can stem back to certain things.
Retweet.
And so you're basing whatever they are, whatever they represent off of like, they're just fucking possessed or whatever, right?
Yeah.
When you really like fail to acknowledge like what have they been through?
Right.
What have they experienced like on a deeper level that maybe they aren't even aware of? That's so deep in there that they like it's so covered up that is buried in, and they're just trying to figure it the fuck out. I mean, at the end of the day, props to someone trying to figure it out rather than someone that just like shut it all down.
Yeah.
And they just like, and they're just like, this is how it's miserable either way.
Very much so.
But at the end of the day, like people don't try to work on things. And then if someone is trying to work on things and you push them away because you hate who they are, well, then you're really just fucking that person even worse. And you're putting them more in a corner because like, you're not trying to help them. And like, if you could just extend your hand and be like, listen, maybe I don't understand you, but what's going on? And open that up and try to bring that out of them, that can like facilitate so much growth. And who knows what direction, right? But at the end of the day, like just trying to communicate. But people are just going to go crazier if they feel like they can't even talk about it.
Right. Yeah.
Which leads to like taking their life and shit like that. Extreme cases, man. And so like, we always talk about how we're there for people. Yeah. But like be there for people.
Yeah, because that's when they really need those are the moments they really need someone there for them. Like when you can visibly see someone like truly hurting, or like there are certain things I'd never expect to hear out of people's mouths. And that was one of them. And I was like, I felt like I not stuck around, but I felt like I wanted to be around him more because I acknowledged that like something else was going on. Like I always felt like something, there was like he was still struggling with something else. Like I didn't know what it was. Like, and I know he probably didn't want to tell me everything because I mean he already dropped like a bomb on me, a couple of bombs. So it was like I always felt like Yeah, because like he stayed here maybe like 2 or 3 years total, then left again. Like him and his dad fell out. So it's like I understand, like, there's something else. Like he needed somebody in that moment. And like I was glad I could be there for him as much as I could. Because again, you also have to make sure you're there for yourself. Because in that moment, I had to also like step back and be like, okay, that's my friend. That's who I'm around. Like, I make sure I'm okay. Because like people take on other people's like traumas, dramas, and things like that sometimes, and don't realize what it does to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to be very conscious. I avoid the news sometimes for that very reason, because I understand like it's a slippery slope. Like a lot of people have become so desensitized to like death, murder, all those things that like it's a part of the problem too. So it's like I had to acknowledge like, okay, that was a lot you unloaded on me. Let me step back for a moment. Like we were still friends, and like I still was processing it in real time, but I also had to like, we weren't hanging out like every day, maybe every other. You know,
well, people will become like, you become almost like obsessed with what it is. Like,
yes,
I personally, like with the North Carolina relief stuff, like I traveled 5 weeks in a row. My wife said, "Hey, like I support you, but me and your daughter need you too."
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. But like I create an identity because like I take their thing, I take what those people are going through, and I make it so personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
And like I wasn't really aware of that. Like I'm almost embodying this identity, and I've had to take a couple weeks, and I'm going back, in like another week or so, but a couple weeks. But like unknowingly, I kind of like made their situation mine. And to a degree, I think, people suffering. Like I'm like, I feel like it's we're all connected.
Human nature.
We're all connected.
Yeah.
Because we're all here. We're all on this earth. And anyways, I can get into all that shit. But so yeah, man. And so in different ways, we kind of take that on.
Yeah.
And then so you got to like get in your head and be like, wait, am I good? Like, am I overly obsessed, or am I overly invested in this, or am I, is this fucking me up mentally? Like, yeah. Because I'd be crying like, these people, it's like,
because then what is that bringing up? Because like his father drama, I'm pretty sure, is what started to unpack my own father drama. So I'm like, your relationship with your dad is shit. Mine is also shit. And I was still very freshly in the shit at the time. Like I remember vividly like getting off work from Cracker Barrel, going home, had like one of those late nights, and I was redacted. I can't say this on podcast. I was doing something, and then I just remember going into deep thought and like basically have like a mini therapy session with myself about like a lot of the things that I just had said, talked about, even thought about. Like sometimes it's nice to say things out loud, like, okay, that's how I felt. That's what was going on in that moment. So like I had to truly like take that time to like unpack a lot of that, like, so I couldn't, like
to be intentional towards that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got some heavy shit.
Yeah, so like his stuff, like I like unpacking my own things, and then like some of his frustrations I might become my own, because I'm pretty sure, like after hanging out with him is when I started to be a little more sexual. Like a lot of his traumas somehow were similar to mine.
Yeah,
that ended up also manifesting in weird ways, because then I had like I said, started thinking about my father issues and like working through those and going through my hoe phase, and like all that stuff started like coming out. Like now I'm sitting back like, damn, I was around somebody who said some things, and next thing you know, my life is like now dealing with those same things. And like so it truly had to like yes,
take a step back and get a breather.
Yeah, like I love you, bud, but like damn, like I didn't realize like what it was doing to me in those moments.
Yeah, but now you have that awareness, and you understand a little bit better, at least from your end. You can't maybe not understand what he's going through or did, but at least you had that self-awareness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wanted to say too, it's funny because we talk about like overall, I started with this talk about like us on either side of the riot, and we were discussing things like people, they're like, well, Kamala supporters this, they're all this way, or you like Trump supporters this, or you said like, the thing with Trump supporters, and I was like, well, say and this was like, I think before election or like right when it happened, I was like, so if I was like, I'm not that way, and just same and vice versa, right? Like what I'm getting at is like, it comes down to anything, just assuming because somebody voted for somebody, or they're gay, or they're straight, or they're white, or anything, there's always like this overarching theme, like, well, they're this way.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you know me.
Right.
So is that assumption fair? And I think just like, don't get me wrong, there's people waving their hands and they bring that kind of attention.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, it's like me getting canceled for being a violent organization. You know, a lot of it probably stems from how I look in my beliefs, right? It is what it is. I got to own it. Like, okay, but hey, let me show y'all that I'm not what y'all think I am.
Exactly.
Right. And I think that's the whole thing too. And that's kind of the goal of this is like, hey man, you know, there's deeper layers to people and they're fucking rad. Like, I freaking love you, dude.
Yeah, I freaking love you too. Like, again, like the riot analogy, I think is a great thing, especially like, you can even name the episode there. Cause I think that, like we've actually had conversations truly about, like politics and things like that. And for me, what it boiled down to was like, you know, you might vote for he who should not be named, but I don't feel like, and I think I mean this to you, I don't feel like you're culty. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, because we've been talking about, like you just mentioned again, like,
I mean, I'm in a cult, but
hey. But like, you know, judging a book by its cover, lumping people in together with like those generalizations is like, knowing you is like, all right, you might vote for him, but I know you're not the type of like super overly religious, or like you're gonna try to force me to like pray before we work out or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's not that. I don't feel like I'm gonna be indoctrinated into a cult when I'm around you.
Yeah.
Because you're just a normal person who's voting for X.
And the truth is, most people, and like I said, most people are like that. They are just normal people that just want to go about their lives. They feel like they made the right decision and whatever it is, and that's it. But it's the problem is like we tend as people not to see that. We're just like, they're all that way. You know what I'm saying?
Because of course there's going to be that pocket of people, and I think that's what sucks. Sometimes that pocket is usually louder than the majority, because like
always,
like sure, I'll say this, like sure, he could not be racist. Let's first like he could not be sexist, any of those things, but he does empower those subset of people who are those things to be that way.
Yeah, and
that's where it's like, okay, like I have to distinguish, like, all right, like you're not cool, because like, you know, you have to be like, again, as a gay man, I gotta be a little aware of where I am, and sometimes like, you know, that's was one of my mother's fears. Like, I found out through the grapevine that she was afraid of me moving here, that I'd be like gay bash or something like that. And I was like, understandable. I get that, you know. She grew up in a time where Matthew Shepard was gay bashed. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with this story.
No idea.
Late 90s, gay dude in Texas, I want to say. Went to a bar, wasn't bothering anybody, wasn't with another man.
Bad Mountain? She said cowboy.
But yeah, he left a bar, and they basically like, well, I think one of the guys, I can't remember the story exactly, but I think one of the guys he was messing off with in secret, and then the guy saw him at the bar, then his friends like basically tied him to like a bike chain and beat him to death.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. So it's like late 90s. So like I understood that, because like gay bashing then was very prevalent, but I was like, you do realize I probably will fight back. So like, just be real. Like, I'm going down swinging. But like those like fears, like I understand that, because that's normal. So you have to be cognizant of who you're around. Like, I feel like you would do the same as a man who has a daughter. Like, you're probably the same way. Like, you're gonna be cognizant of who your daughter's around, because everybody's not a good person. Like, everybody ain't my friend, so I can't tell everybody everything. Everybody doesn't even fuck about your business, so you shouldn't share everything. Like, I feel like social media's biggest problem, they overshare. Stop sharing everything, people, please. Like, I don't need to know your business. Like, because you invite commentary, you invite opinions, you invite things that you might not want. You invite spirits, you invite energies into like things that may be something you need to deal with, you know?
About like inviting energies in, but also like the understanding that like, you know, there's like people that are empowered by a certain person or whatever.
Yeah. Because see, like, there's a difference too. And let me clarify. Because like, when you share your story, you share like you share like a journey versus like sharing like, oh, my boyfriend just cheated on me again. Like, this is the third time, and like me and his baby mama arguing. Like, some things are just not for everybody, and I think that's why like a lot of people sour other people's opinions of them, because they allow social media to be like a diary, when it's like, no, like stop sharing everything with everybody, because it's not. Everything is truly not for everybody. That's why there's multiple genres of music. That's why there's multiple types of movies, TV, everything. There's different clothing, colors, all that, because everything is truly not for everyone. And that should just be the same for like who you are around as people. Cause like, sure, like I said, we talked about you voting for Houston I'm name, and I was like, okay, cool. I understood your reasonings, and I shared mine, and I think you understood mine as well.
Yeah.
We agreed, we moved on.
Yeah.
You weren't trying to be like, oh, let me tell you why you're wrong, you liberal snowflake, oh, you pedophile asshole, like, you know, commie fuck, like none of those things. Like, and I wasn't like, oh, you racist, because I was like, I've never seen you do a racist thing around me, like not even make a racist comment, like, or like a lot of people do this a lot of times and don't realize they're doing microaggressions, but they do. Like a lot of people microaggression the fuck out of me, and I'm like,
do they really?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like how? What's that? What would that be?
I think I told you about this one incident. We were in Sam's, and this guy like walked up to me, and I had on a Batman shirt, and he would talk to me about Batman, but it's not talking about Batman. It's how he did it. He was clearly a white man, and it's like I could see his energy kind of change to kind of have the conversation with me. Like, oh yeah, so you got on Batman. Like, you just talk to me.
Yeah,
Batman's a white man. Like the fuck, you can talk to me. Like it's fine. But then it got interesting.
Yeah, dog.
Yeah, no,
you're like, whoa.
People do that. Oh, I love to. Okay, girl, I'm more of a Kanye fan. I actually like Biggie. Like, girl, like, you know, people do that though. Yeah. Like it's that generalization of like, oh, so when he did it and he walked off, I noticed that he went. I think I told you that he had 2 mixed grandchildren. It was like interesting. It's like he didn't mean any harm by it. It's like he's probably still adjusting to the fact that, you know, his daughter had mixed kids and like how slangs, how, you know, how we speak to each other. And it's like, it wasn't meant harm. Like intent. Like my mom, she hammered that in, like, know people's intention when they talk to you, because intent sometimes does change things. Like that he meant no harm by it. So I didn't take offense. I didn't like snap out at him. But like there have been times like, this is not it's kind of a microaggression. This guy, I was at a bar, and I don't even know why he said this to me. But he was like, I've fucked girls bigger than you before. And I was like, what? And I think my brain, my first immediate asshole response was like, I fucked guys smaller than you before. What are we getting at here? Like, I didn't understand that. But it was like,
what is that even about?
Yeah, it's like, is that fat phobia coming out? Like, where did that even stem from? Because I don't even think the guy and I were having any like debate or anything. But it's like, there are moments that people like will do that, and like they don't mean to. Sometimes people don't mean to misgender you. It's not on purpose. Daniel, a gay man, my boyfriend, misgendered a person because he overthought it. He was in his head about like, is it a man? Is it a woman? I don't know. I was like, calm down, because the more you try to like put a stamp on it, figure it out, the more you're gonna fuck up. And guess what he did? He fucked up when he got up there. Because I was like, see, you were worried about it instead of just like being in the moment. You mess up, dude. Like,
and it's like, well, it's simple. It's like, it's also, you know, like you talk about the misgender thing, like I said, I see it male, female.
Yeah.
You know, that's just what I believe in.
Yeah.
But like if I went somewhere and I was at, I don't know, use Starbucks. I go to Starbucks a lot. It's like a really good place that drive through. And someone was like, oh, it's actually ma'am. I bet, okay, thanks, ma'am. You know, I'm not going to be like, who in the tarnation do you think? You know, it's like,
and on the same
like,
coin,
what am I going to get out of that? That's just going to cause like me to have a bad day because I just yelled at somebody.
Now you're mad
because like I took their identity personal, you know. And that's the thing, we take people's words personal. It's like, even if someone says something, that's like hard to do, but say someone says something ugly towards you, at the end of the day, especially if it's not facilitated or it's based off of a big misunderstanding, you know, it's at the end of the day, they're just self-projecting something.
Yes.
That's something within themselves. And like, if someone was like, because I talked to somebody this weekend and they're like, oh, we just can't be friends with people on that side because they just say hateful things. And I'm like, I was just like, so what? Like, someone said hateful things about me, and like, oh God, like,
so do people on this side. So what do you?
There's people on either direction. There's people within your own group that say hateful things maybe about you, or that are not who you think they are.
Furthering the problem.
So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, and well, I know this individual, and I know they're not saying hateful things, you know, and that's just that. So I feel like it's just such a funny way of thinking. Like, you're so worried about what all these people say about you. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. Because at the end of the day, like when you go home, when you're alone, it's just you.
Yep.
When you die, it's gonna be just you.
Yeah.
Like you might die with somebody, but guess what?
Yeah.
It's gonna be just you. So
Yeah.
I think that you got to be kind of okay with yourself. Like at some point, like even if it's just a start, like it took me 27 years to be okay.
Yeah.
With like just being, it took me like at least 10 years to be okay with being gay. Like
Yeah.
that, it took me even longer to like the color pink. That's another conversation for another day. Like that, I used to have a fear of the color pink, because I didn't want to seem too gay. Like,
Yeah.
so like it took me a while to like, all right, I'm going to embrace the color pink. Even embracing the rainbow, because I was like, the way the rainbow was stigmatized when it became a symbol for the LGBTQ community, it was like, I was afraid of it. Now, every now and then I might have a little rainbow.
Yeah.
It's like not intentional, like not trying to be like, oh, give me, I'm gay, but just because I like pink now. Like the rainbow's pretty cool. Like, I've made peace with all those things that once caused me like fear and like trauma because someone else didn't understand it, and I let that fear like glom onto me. But it's like, no, they don't have to understand it. You genuinely do not have to understand. I do not care if you don't understand, but as long as you respect it, we're good.
Yeah.
Like is anything that's for me just kind of across the board. I feel like I wish that could be we can all adopt that mentality. Is like, I don't care as long as you are not murdering, robbing,
Touching kids.
Yeah, those are the big three. Yeah. The only one I was like, wait, it's like because killing and robbing, killing and
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're not harming another individual, do you
Do your thing.
do your thing? But
Yeah, dude. I see a rainbow flag and I'm just like, I don't
They
even
might
really
be nice
acknowledge
people.
it. I'm like, oh, it's a rainbow flag. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I see anything. I see somebody with a shirt, even if it's so extreme, and it's like, if I saw someone with a shirt that said, I hate white people, I'd be like, oh man, that's a pretty bold
Like,
statement.
not this white person, but it's like, because in reality, they might not even talk. They genuinely like.
It doesn't even.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Like I jokingly will say, and I probably hate this, but I was like, oh my God, white people. But I don't like. I have my white friends actually sometimes rag on white people around me. They're like, oh my God, white people. Because they know that they are not that person, and that when they say that, they're not talking about themselves. They know, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't care who you are. There's funny stereotypes in all.
it is.
Angles,
And
man.
unfortunately, because we actually talking about this last night. We were watching Love and Hip Hop. And I was like, Daniel was like, there are people like this in the world. I was like, yes. And I don't understand why people get so upset at the notion of reality TV. Okay, yes, it's amplified to a degree, but also no, there are people like that are that narcissistic, that are that vain, that are that dramatic. Yes, they are like that. Now they just have a camera. Like, I went to high school with girls who would fight over the littlest things. I saw some of the weirdest fights. Like, she barely touched you. She barely bumped into you. Why y'all damn near killing each other right now? You know what I mean? Like,
I know, I used to be hyper aggressive like that. Someone his shoulder hit me. I'd be like, "Motherfucker, you ready, bro?"
Yeah,
I was like, Jesus. Not that big
so,
of a deal.
I would love to see those videos. Hyper aggressive.
Yeah, gosh.
But just like I know people, I genuinely know people who act like that. Like, sure, it might not be the best light to paint them in, but that's who they are. Like, you can't change a person's like personality because it's to this or to that or not enough to, like.
And if you don't like it, then just don't. You don't got to be friends with them.
Exactly.
They're going to have other friends that are cool with it, but like maybe you don't want that kind of drama. Guess what? That's fine. Just don't like associate.
You don't have to like. You don't have to agree. You just have to respect. Like, again, it's like all about being respectful. All about like, I don't know. It's that respectful piece, because like a lot of people don't get that. Like, again, we can continue this conversation for like 3 or 4 days and still talk about everything under the sun. And I guarantee you, we will remain respectful, even if we disagreed on like something. Because I think it's one thing that we haven't talked about. That is a big piece, but quick. You mentioned to me that like you say like you prefer to keep your family bloodline white. Or, didn't like better words.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I think I've even told you, I was like, you say that and like you might get hate for it. I was like, but that's not anything normal, like abnormal from what I'm hearing in my community.
Like, Muhammad Ali said it in an interview. He was like, that's our identity. That's like, that's our history. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one got mad at him about it.
Yeah, I can literally pull up right now for you. Go to my Twitter and find at least 3 to 4 conversations where there are gay men, black gay men, talking about black gay men only dating black gay men.
See, and you said it for me, talking about me, so like no one can attack me.
Oh, well,
but
no,
no,
say it.
that's the thing though. But it's like that's for me and my wife.
Yeah,
and like that's our decision.
Right.
I'm not saying, hey, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that. Like, that's just a standpoint I believe in. I'm big on ancestral traditions and like my spiritual, you know, kind of path of things. And to me, I appreciate identity and like in the world and people having their like culture and whatnot. And so like that's just a personal standpoint.
Yeah, and like and it sucks because as a white man, I feel like you can't say that without being attacked.
Oh, you will.
Yeah, facts. True. But I'm like, I see that literal same conversation happen in the black community, gay and straight, all the time. Like the whole debate recently with part of the beef with Kendrick Lamar and Drake was about Kendrick saying that Drake didn't have 4 black grandparents. Like that became a topic, and it's like,
I didn't even know this.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was beef.
Oh my god, yeah, like.
Always beef.
Yeah, always beef and rap. But yeah, so like there is that conversation regularly had in the black community about black men dating black women, black men dating other black men, black women dating black. Like it's had as well. But for some reason you can't say it. And I'm like, I find that weird. Like I might get shit, but I just think it's weird because it's like we say the same thing.
If I said that with one of my friends, like one of my white buddies, right, and like on the podcast, dude, there would be a controversy.
Yeah,
did y'all hear this hate speech? And
right,
like,
and then what's crazy is, like, and I would have to go defend. Right, I have to defend you and be like, but I know Joe, and I know that if Ozzy came home with a black man, or if Ozzy came home with a lesbian, or came home with a girlfriend, or came home with a Kurdish boyfriend, like you would still love Ozzy and that person the same. It wouldn't change. Now, would you want her to date somebody white? Of course. But there are the way you love, the way you attend won't change. And that's the issue sometimes, that people say that and then once their child diverts, they're automatically upset. They actually, it becomes actionable. Like they're mad. There's like they have fire, brimstone, you know? And it's like, well, shit. So you are racist. So you are homophobic.
Well,
you know?
my daughter, at the end of the day, like, okay, again, like on the example thing, like, my daughter's going to see me and her mother and that love and us, and so that's going to be, you know, if you're intentional, if I'm intentional about that, like, dude, the actions are going to speak for themselves, right? You know, she's going to want something similar, and however that goes. But that's the thing. Like, you know, at the end of the day, I just want her to be happy. That's all I could ever ask for,
exactly. Because I think, I was like. People used to joke and say that I would have a white girlfriend. Surprise, surprise, I'm gay. So there's that. Boom. Right. But I mean, you know, it's like there was never a moment. I think my mom, even if my boyfriend was white, if he was Hispanic, she wouldn't care. Like it would be, you are my son. I love you. Are you making my son happy? Because I remember that was the one thing she asked me. She said, "Are you happy?" I said, "Yeah." As happy as I've ever been. Like, honestly. She was like, "All right. I just want to make sure you're happy, that you're taking care of yourself, that somebody's taking care, like, you don't, like, that's the thing she was worried about. Is my child happy? Is he being taken care of? That's it. Is he being loved?" Because at the end of the day, like, I don't think she cares who does it as long as it's happening. You know what I mean? Because, like, I think that's important. Like, a lot of people miss that piece. They're like, if I have kids today and my son comes home and like, "Dad, I want to be straight." I'm like, "You great." No, like, go be straight. Bring home, like, if he brings home a white girlfriend, I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, I'm still going to love you and that person, because at the end of the day, I want that person to love you like I loved you. Yeah. And me being an asshole to them only makes them resent you more, because then now my child has to choose between their parent and their lover. And that's never a fun battle. Like, I've seen it happen so many times, and most times the lover loses. So it's like, so
I will say though, my wife and I, like, through some things, we were like, we're definitely, hey, it's us. Yeah. You know, and like, that's another thing I believe in too. Like, when it comes to you and especially when you're married, like, it comes to you, your wife or husband or whatever, like, that's your family. Yeah. Nobody imposes on that. Right. You know, nobody. And that, like, it's just me. Like, I don't care who it is, family, whatnot. Like, that's my center. Yeah. And nobody obstructs that. But I'm very protective of that. Yeah. And that's just that's a viewpoint of mine too, you know? And I think, but she and I share that understanding. I'm not telling her she has to do this or that.
And what's crazy is you're literally no different than a black dad, Hispanic dad, a black gay dad, a white gay dad. Like, they probably want the exact same things. they have the love for their partner. Make sure their children understands that there's love in the home, because when they understand that, they can go and love out in the world. Like, you know, they bring that love, that energy. Like, it's different. Like, it truly is different. Like, you can see it. Even in single parent homes, I feel like there's a difference where you can tell that the parents, like, loving on the child versus, like, neglecting or, like, kind of and not. Like, there's a difference. Like,
oh, yeah. You can tell.
Yeah.
But we do got to cut this one out.
Oh, yeah, that's a great point.
We'll get back to it. We're going to bring this back, bro. Hey, real quick, what is your relentless pursuit?
Ooh, my relentless pursuit. What is my relentless pursuit? Bettering myself to any degree, whether that's in, I'm always looking to, like, explore, whether it's in music, sounds, movies, TV, working out. Like, I'm always trying to better myself. I found that there's beauty in some, like, when I'm uncomfortable, like when I find myself uncomfortable, that's when the most beautiful things happen.
Facts.
So that's what I'm trying to do. Cause this has been top 10 most uncomfortable journeys for me. I will not lie. It's been a mental struggle, a physical struggle, but I'm here. So I feel like that's part of it too, is, like, you know, like, embracing the uncomfortable. Cause I'm like, all right, the beauty in the uncomfortable is that, like, everybody's looking at my body now, like, the changes that I see, like, you know, because you could say it all day, but I have to say it myself. Like, all right, so I think that's my journey. Is always bettering myself, no matter what that looks like.
Self-improvement.
Yeah, whether it's through music, through school, at work, in a relationship. Like, how can I be better? How can I do better than I did yesterday? Like, I'm always trying to outdo me, like, never anybody else. Like, I'm already thinking of, like, what can I dye my hair next? Like, how can I, like, top the two-tone now? I've done the double. Like, can I do a triple ombre? Like, you know, literally thought about that. Like, getting a doctorate. Like, you know, like, how can I top me? Yeah, that's where I'm always trying to.
Oh yeah, man, dude, and that's a perfect relationship. Self-improvement, man. That's, like, fucking awesome, man.
Sorry, there's a gay man somewhere who just laughed at that. How can I top me?
Yeah, right.
And they're like, oh, you nasty.
Whoa,
nasty.
now, calm down. Shit. But that said, dude, hey, and I'm grateful to be a part of your journey, man. Grateful for this friendship we have, brother.
Yes.
Hey, Josh, it was a pleasure, bro.
Pleasure as well, Joe.
Love you, dude.
Love you
Hell
too.
yeah. Hey, thanks, guys. Till next time.